Thanks to CuriosityStream for supporting my channel. Check out the extended versions of my videos when you sign up for CuriosityStream and Nebula using the link in the description. It's officially been about 3 years since I started my channel, and from filming using my iPhone stacked on a bunch of books to using a much more professional camera and having an actual process to making content, I've come a pretty long way in terms of how I make videos. So today I want to take you a little bit behind the scenes and show you how the videos that you see on my channel get made, whether you're curious about how I research videos or whether you're interested in starting your own YouTube channel. As always, if you're new here, consider subscribing and turning on your post notifications so that you know whenever I post a video. And if you want more of this behind the scenes style content, you can follow me on my vlog channel as well as on Instagram and TikTok, where I post more about the behind the scenes of making videos as well as the more PhD side of my life. So all of my videos start with research, and this can be anything from basically doing very little research if it's an idea that I happen upon that doesn't require a lot of research, either because I know a lot about the topic when it comes to things like neurotechnology, or when it comes to things like making an AI-generated recipe where I don't really need to do a ton of research on the topic. Once I found the recipe, I can just start ordering the groceries and get started on filming. For me, research is probably one of the more fun parts of making videos. One of the reasons why I started my channel in the first place was because I wanted to keep learning about artificial intelligence and machine learning and new emerging technologies while I was doing my PhD. And even though my PhD work actually overlaps into that field, it's not the primary focus of what I do. And so creating a YouTube channel where I could keep up with that kind of news and talk about it to you guys was a great way for me to stay on track with other fields that I was interested in potentially working in the future and just learning about more in general. So when it comes to research, a lot of the ideas that I come across for videos are things that I find via interesting papers on Twitter or news alerts for things like artificial intelligence and machine learning that have popped up in my inbox. And I think that research generally takes anywhere from several hours to several weeks, depending on the topic. So if it's something that I'm already pretty familiar with, I can usually get away with 2 to 3 days worth of research where I research for a couple hours a day. But if it's something that I'm less familiar with, for example, anything in the quantum realm, then it usually takes me a couple weeks of doing a couple hours of research and reading and studying per day to get familiar enough with the material to actually be comfortable talking about it on camera. This is also true for any project-based videos I do. So whether it be deploying things like AlphaGo onto a Raspberry Pi or creating neural networks using dominoes, those are things that I actually complete before I make the video itself, mostly because I've come a little bit too close for comfort to planning videos with projects and then not actually finishing the project or running into issues with the project, having to troubleshoot coding stuff or hardware stuff. And so I've learned that it's often easier to just do the project itself by myself and then come back and run you guys through the process of how I did the project and what the outcomes were. But in short, if you're curious about what takes the most amount of time when it comes to producing a video for me, the answer is probably the research side of things. Once research is done, I move on to scripting, and how scripted my videos are often depends on the topic of the video itself. So this video is actually completely unscripted. I know the points that I need to hit and I can talk through them pretty naturally. But highly technical videos, things like quantum machine learning, are often a lot more scripted because there are technical points that I need to hit and they're things that I probably won't remember off the top of my head. In the middle is the videos that tend to be outlined, or videos where I'm relying on the paper itself that I'm basing the video on. So videos like the DeepMind AI algorithm that could beat all of the Atari games, I did a light outline for so that I could make sure to hit all of the main points that I was interested in talking about, but because I actually had the paper on hand when I was making the video, I didn't necessarily need to have a detailed outline or a full script because I could just refer back to the paper, which I'd already annotated. In any case, when I make scripts, I typically do one draft one day and then give that draft a day or two to breathe, come back to it, revise it based on whether or not I feel like it's missing information or whether I think that it goes in a logical order that would make sense to you guys, and then the script is usually done. Next up is the part that you're watching now, which is filming. I film on a Blackmagic camera with the Sigma Art lens. If you want more details on that, you should check out the Nebula Original series that I was a part of called Better Elevation, where I go through the specifics of all of my hardware and the evolution of my hardware over time. But in short, I use a cinema camera as well as a wireless lavalier mic set. So this lav is not actually connected to the camera directly, it's connected to this pack, which then transmit my audio to the camera so that I don't have to sync it in post. You may have noticed that the lighting in this room has changed over time. Currently, I am using Philips Hue lights that are actually recessed lights installed in the ceiling of my apartment. So I can turn off the one that is behind my head, I guess, and leave the one that's in front of me on so that I can use it kind of as a spotlight without having to worry about getting washed out. And outside of that, I don't do a ton special in terms of filming. I think that I still often use my fancy and expensive cameras as point and shoots. So it's something that I'm interested in learning more about going forward. But at the moment, I would say this process takes anywhere between 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how complicated the video is total. Once I'm done filming, it's time for editing. This takes place in 2 to 3 parts, depending on the timeline for the video itself. So for any videos that are sponsored, I have to send sponsor previews. So I'll send out a preview of the sponsor copy to whoever's sponsoring the video. That takes anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes to edit. It's fairly short. And then I have to edit both the YouTube version of these videos and then the Nebula version of these videos, which tend to be fairly similar unless there's Nebula Plus content in them. And even then tend to be fairly similar. I tend to film them in a way that makes it easy to take out the part that is Nebula Plus in the editing process for YouTube and then add it back in when it comes to uploading to Nebula. When I started my channel, I was editing, I think in iMovie. I don't actually remember off the top of my head. I'm guessing it was iMovie because that's the only thing that could have been on my computer at the time. And have then shifted to Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I use now. I've also dabbled in DaVinci Resolve, which I think is a great editing software, but I've gotten into the rhythm of using Premiere at this point, so it's hard to make the switch just because of the muscle memory. And editing for me takes anywhere between, I would say, about an hour to 2 to 3 hours, depending on how much footage I have to get through, how much B-roll I need to take, if I need to do annotations, if I need to do graphics. So while research is probably the most time-consuming part of making a video, editing is actually probably the second most time-consuming part of making a video for me. And it's also probably the part that I enjoy, I would say, the least. I've grown to love editing a little bit more than I did when I started and more than I did, call it a few months ago. But I still think that it's something that I'm learning to do. I'm not super efficient at it and often would prefer that someone else did it for me. Lastly, once a video is edited, I have to make the thumbnail and then upload and set up the description. I have essentially preset description stuff that I use for most videos in terms of links of places you can find me on the internet, and the sources that I use I've already collected and organized, so I just copy and paste that into the description box, which is super straightforward. My video titles I often optimize using CoSchedule's headline optimizer just to get a sense of what people are searching for. A lot of my video traffic comes from Google search, so I try to make sure that I'm using titles that people will come across when they're trying to answer the questions that I try to answer in my videos. My process of creating thumbnails has evolved over time. I used to be very lazy about it. It would take me 10 to 15 minutes to make a thumbnail, and now I would say it takes me 45 minutes to an hour. I actually have a thumbnail template, or several thumbnail templates that were developed for me by a graphic designer, which has been super helpful. And so I can basically rotate through those templates based on the video that I'm making and the point that I want to get across in the thumbnail, since that's something that people will see before they see the actual video, and so it's important that I get it right. And then once a video has been uploaded and set live, I try to post on all my socials, so that might be Twitter, it's usually Instagram, and then lately I've also been posting on TikTok. I use Adobe Premiere has like this AI auto reframe feature that lets you automatically recut footage for other platforms. So I've been recutting my videos for TikTok without having to actually go through and like film a whole new video. And that's how I make my videos. The one thing I didn't get into in this video is the equipment that I use and the evolution of that equipment over time. You can find affiliate links to the equipment that I'm currently using in the description, but if you'd like a more in-depth explanation of what I use and how I use it, you should go check out my Nebula Original in the Better Elevation series, where I walk you through all of the camera gear, all of the audio equipment that I use, how I got started with my iPhone, and how I've moved up to using a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera. If you're new to my channel, Nebula is a creator-built platform where you get to watch my videos ad-free, and some of your favorite creators, including myself, can create and experiment with awesome content without having to worry about demonetization or paying tribute to the YouTube algorithm. We're thrilled to be partnering with CuriosityStream, a subscription streaming service with thousands of documentaries and nonfiction videos. Want to learn more about social networks and how they're changing our lives? Check out the documentary series Curious Minds Social Networking, which goes through how social networks started and how they are currently impacting us every day. And where CuriosityStream is all about big budget nonfiction documentaries, we're building Nebula so that education creators have a place to try out new content without having to worry about how it might perform on YouTube. On Nebula, you'll find ad-free videos from some of your favorite creators, from Marques Brownlee to the Coding Train to Tier Zoo, as well as my Nebula Plus content, which includes extended versions of the videos that you see on my channel. You'll also find Nebula Originals like Better Elevation, where different Nebula creators go through how they've improved their production process with new equipment, or a very good trivia show where I won $500 for drawing a really nice circle. CuriosityStream loves independent creators and wants to help us grow our platform, so if you click on the link in the description or use my promo code Jordan, you can get access to CuriosityStream for 26% off their annual plans, with Nebula included for free for as long as you are a CuriosityStream member. That's less than $15 a year. Signing up for CuriosityStream and Nebula is a great way to directly support my channel while getting to watch my videos ad-free and getting that behind-the-scenes extended content that you don't see here on YouTube. So sign up for CuriosityStream and Nebula at curiositystream.com/Jordan or using the promo code Jordan. Otherwise, if you like this video, let me know by smashing the like button and subscribing to my channel. You can also check out my video on how I balance my time between my PhD and YouTube if you're curious as to how I fit all of this into my day job being a PhD student at MIT and Harvard. Otherwise, you can follow my PhD life on the vlog channel, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, and I will see you guys on Monday. Bye.